Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporters, a St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Ready to Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear studio. David Heck alongside Eric Cole. Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff still out for the second episode this week. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not with us, Eric. Just you and I again.
Damn kids. They always got to get in the way of something.
Is that what it is?
Like parent teacher or parent for Zoe's team, I think.
Oh,
and then
like
they
a
had
parent
a friendly
meeting.
and then they had addition. They got to realize, like, hey man, like, priorities.
Yeah, there's a podcast here.
You should ask our podcast schedule to all the parents before
I know
setting up these team meetings and all that type of stuff. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Certainly not being very considerate, but it is what it is. Eric, we will bring the people the match week preview brought to you by STL Kolache Company, located at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. I love those things. I can't get enough of them. They're so good. We've determined they are, in fact, dippable. Dave had all sorts of them last week, I think it was. This is the first weekend in like 3 that I haven't had a kolache. I'm trying to watch the figure a little bit. One thing about kolaches, I don't think they're health food. A lot of carbs.
Bread doesn't signal.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime you almost know, like when you take a bite into something, you're just like, huh, this isn't good for me.
But dude, they are good. Like, that's the thing. If you're looking, I mean, to me, it's like the perfect cheat meal, because the nice thing about it is that no matter what you like they've got it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you want breakfast stuff? Oh, biscuits and gravy. Or you want to have like eggs and sausage or eggs and bacon, and it's kind of like wrapped up in this beautiful, soft, doughy goodness. Or we want to go sweet. You know, I know, Eric, you got a sweet tooth. You go s'mores kolache. You go,
butter cake.
Oh my goodness!
Pie.
Just yes, like they've
That's
got
what
it
I find like the most interesting about kolaches, because I wasn't really familiar with them prior to getting to know Eric and play with him and stuff. But like who would ever thought that you would contain biscuits and gravy? You know what I mean? Like, who would ever you would try and contain some of the combinations that they actually do offer there. That's what I felt, like pizza and all that type
dude,
of
the
stuff.
pizza
Like,
kolache.
you guys are big on that one, right?
Oh my god, to me it's so good. Like, there's other ones that are great, like in that flavor profile. The meatball one's good. And maybe people like, I don't like, you can't eat the STL pizza kolache if you're not a Probel cheese fan. Like, you're not gonna, I mean, you can, it's still gonna be good. It's not gonna resonate with the people, unless you like St. Louis style pizza. If you like St. Louis style pizza, this pizza kolache is so, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy good. That's the one I love, and the meatball one is great as well. This particular location out there in Sunset Hills, known for the famous chicken enchilada, which I haven't had yet. I haven't had one.
Yeah, I haven't had the chicken enchilada either. Favorite savory, favorite sweet. What you got so far?
The s'more for sweet. I'm not a real. I take that back. It's a cinnamon roll thing they've got is really good, and it's like a traditional cinnamon. Right? It's really good. They've got a couple good options there.
Like that one goes quick.
Oh yeah,
like that's
hard to get. Yeah, that one, and the pizza one's great. The biscuits and gravy is like just so classic. The sausage gravy, and that's really good. I don't know, man. I think if when I go in there, I will mix it up a little bit. We'll typically do several different kinds and kind of share them, and as a family, kind of try different ones. To me, the pizza one's the best. I love it.
The great thing about like going to STL Kolache, like you can get your tried and trues, but you don't feel worried about trying, something new. It's not going to overtake your whole, dinner.
Right.
You can have your tried and trues, and then you try a new one, and you
just
can
do a little
split
sampling.
it. And
Yeah. And they're like a few bucks. I mean, it's a pretty affordable like way to go about it too. In this economy, especially, Eric, it's crazy out there. But STL Kolache keeps it pretty affordable, and just again, amazing food there. 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. They bring you the match week preview every single week, and today we're going to be talking about LAFC. City will take them on Sunday night, MLS Sunday Night Soccer at 6 p.m. Central Time in Los Angeles. This has been a great squad historically in the league. They sit currently in seventh place in the West, so not a really impressive start, but seem to be maybe playing a little bit better as of late. City has 5 goals in 9 games, so that'll tell you how things are going offensively for us. But LAFC is certainly going to be a tough opponent that will take place again on Sunday night.
Yeah. I mean, LAFC is just that team that's just always going to be around. I remember last year they had a slow start as well, and then towards the end they're competing for best team in the West. So it's just always a high flying offense. They've lost a couple pieces here and there, but it's still a very dangerous squad. I also do want to say like it's so nice just having an LAFC game at 6 p.m. and especially
Agreed.
on a Sunday. When I first
Agreed.
saw this, I was like, 9:30 on a Sunday, man, that's gonna suck. So honestly, it didn't really click into me until Tuesday's episode when you said it, and I was like, oh man, I think he said the wrong time. And then I checked and I was like, oh thank God, he's right.
I
That's
know,
so
man.
nice.
Those
So let's
nine
just
o'clock starts are so brutal.
oh man, they're so rough. But yeah, it's an LAFC team. It's kind of the way they've been the past couple of years, where just man, offensively they are dangerous. They are just quick, especially Denny Bouanga. But man, as big as he is, and you know he's their number one guy for sure, Golden Boot winner and everything like that. David Martinez is really just as scary, and he's leading them in goals right now. Anyway, but I mean I don't know. It's almost like Denny Bouanga takes all the attention, and then David Martinez, like when he gets it, he's technically probably getting the weaker of the backs. So he's extremely dangerous dribbling. He's got a lot of pace as well, just like Bouanga. So just like with Vancouver on the wings, man, we're going to be hit with pace. We're going to be getting hit with, a lot of quality. And Denny Bouanga, if he's anywhere within 25 yards, you better make sure you're right up on him because he's going to look to shoot and he's got that power to back it up. So can't let Blanca get any space at all. They're 4-1-4 right now. They're really up and down all throughout the year, where it just seems like they put in a really good performance and then follow it up with like a performance. But unfortunately, they're kind of finding their feet at this moment. They've got 13 goals for, 14 against, so they go at a -1 goal differential. I think one of the big reasons they've been struggling, I guess you could say a little bit, is one of their DPs, Oliver Giroud, who they really emphasize being their guy up top, and he's got the resume to back it up. He scores goals in bunches. He already has in the Premier League, in Serie A, and then I think he's France's leading goal scorer. So he has the capability to put away. He just hasn't. Until unfortunately last week, where he had just a beauty of a free kick top off the bar, straight down, one of those beauties. And so hopefully that doesn't signify him catching fire. But I think it's going to be a very similar thing to at Vancouver, where if we can minimize the wings and take out that central, they like to run either a 4-3, a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3. So either way, you're typically looking at a three attacking system with Denny Bouanga taking one side. Typically, David Martinez takes the other, and then they alternate kind of in and out strikers. I would imagine we see Oliver Giroud though back in that starting lineup. So if we can contain the outsides again, not giving Bouanga any sort of space at all, if he's anywhere in there, I think we'll be okay on the defensive side. Now, where they are weak, similar to like Miami, is on the defensive side. Clearly a lot of their effort and money has gone into the attacking prowess, where there's some to be desired, I guess you could say, for the defensive end. They're vulnerable on the counter because they press that counter. So they're going to look to counter you and be the more counter attacking team, but that's where we can catch them off. Now, what I hope doesn't happen, and I don't think will be successful, is if Olaf wants to park the bus and just withstand that pressure. They're too good of an offensive team. They'll eventually find their way through or just take shots from out that they're dangerous. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is just similar to what we did is against Vancouver, is put their defense under a little bit of press, not overcommit, but you move as a unit, cause some defensive errors, and then attack on them. Again, we have to improve with being a little bit more clinical and decisive in the attacking final third, not overthinking it, not taking that extra touch, but hitting it first time, crossing it first time, and then putting it away. And it seems like for this year, for the love of God, stay on sides, be a foot back off, and just make them count. I think this is a game that when we highlighted at the beginning of the month, that we looked at as a game that we could go and get some points. Obviously, it's always going to be tough going to LA. They're up there as one of the best home atmospheres in the league. You see it. What is it? 3252. They call their supporter section. They're loud. They're aggressive. That whole almost like blackout of the stadium just feels intense when you're there. It's an intense environment. Hopefully, we've got quite a few players who've played intense environments over in Europe that they can handle it, but keeping our composure, taking it to them, but being very conscious on the defensive side, which we've been doing pretty well. I think I'm looking at this as I think we can come out of there with some points.
Well, I would love to come out of there with some points. One of the things that I found interesting, Eric, is that both teams have a -1 goal differential and have gotten there wildly different ways.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's funny.
City has allowed 6 goals this season, which is tied for first tied with Vancouver and Miami, who've given up the fewest goals in the league. But City's only scored 5 goals this season, right? So a -1 differential, 5 goals in 9 games. And didn't they put like 3 in against a team earlier
Against
this year as
LA.
well? Yeah.
Yeah,
So LA
against
Galaxy,
LA.
they scored 3. And so that means in the other 8 games, they've scored 2. Like, it's just not good enough offensively. I wish City would spend some of those dollars like LAFC does to bolster the offense. So a -1 goal differential for St. Louis, 5 goals scored, 6 given up. LAFC a -1 differential as well, as they sit in 7th place in the West, but they have scored 13 goals. They've given up 14. 14 goals. There's a lot of goals given up. One of the highest totals, believe it or not, in the entire league. The only team in the Western Conference that's given up more goals. I should say there's a couple, I guess it looks like. Sporting KC's given up 19, San Jose's given up 17, and then LA Galaxy has given up 16. But 14 is certainly upper echelon for goals allowed. One of the interesting things about this, Eric, as you know, I like to gamble. I have the lines pulled up. Now, I did bet the over on corners last week, and I smashed it, Eric. I smashed it. The
What was it?
problem was it was like 8.5, and I went over. And it was like 12 or 11 or something
Oh, really?
total.
Got up that high? Wow.
It was well, they had like 5 or 6 in the first 15 minutes. It seemed like it was pretty much no sweat. The problem is, Eric. I parlayed it. I parlayed it
Mm,
with an over of 2.5, which, as you know, did not hit. I don't know why I thought it would. I thought Vancouver might just be able to cover it on their own. And you hit the 2-1 goal prediction the week before, so I thought, we'll go with this, but didn't work out.
sorry.
It's okay. It's not your
What's
fault.
your while we're on it, what's your mindset? Because you do hit corners quite often. What is your mindset if they are at 5 in 15 minutes? Are you like, oh, are you confident? Or
Oh yeah,
are you almost worried that like, oh man, the way this game's going, it's gonna shift and we're not gonna see any anymore? You're
no,
confident.
no, I'm confident. I'm spending the money already, Eric. Like I've
Okay.
already reinvested that into
Yeah.
another bet at that
You
point.
you
That's
yeah.
that's money in the pocket at that point. But again, I had the parlay and it just didn't look like they were going to score, so kind of sucks. So my cold streak betting continues,
Mm,
but it's going to shift. It's going to shift this weekend, Eric, and here's why. City's an underdog in this game. And you may say, well, of course they're an underdog. They're going to LAFC. They're going to be an underdog. But we've been seeing underdogs still get like not great odds. Like a lot of times it's like +150 or +180. If you look at a 3-way money line for this game on DraftKings, City's a +400. They're a 4-1
Jesus.
underdog in this game, Eric. 4-1. If you did a 2-way bet and you got rid of the draw option, you draw no bet option, they're a +310. So even if you said, you know what, I'm gonna say City's gonna win or it'll be a draw. Well, if it's a draw, like I'm just gonna push, right? It's not gonna be that big of a deal. City's a +310 with that. So 3-1, +3-1 on that. So I think there's so much money to be made on City in this game. Like, I mean, I get it. They're definitely underdogs in this game. I totally recognize that, but I
Mhm.
think that's too good to pass up
Yeah, I mean,
in a sport
I
where anything can happen.
didn't you say like Columbus and Vancouver, like I think Columbus you said we were favored, right? And then Vancouver we were
Was it
underdogs. but it was only like
We were favored
120. It
against
was very.
Columbus. Man, the home team's always favored. It seems
So they
like.
put that much emphasis on home and away as
Oh yeah,
compared
it's
to,
big. It's different in this sport than any other sport. It
and I
seems
get
like.
it. LAFC, like I highlighted, is one of the best, home atmospheres that you'll see in the MLS. But man, that's crazy to think that. Again, it's weird because you look at a team that's very strong defensively and a team that's, yeah, they can score, but going, you got two head to heads, which is the offense better than, the best defense in the league. It's going to be, but those are big numbers.
Yeah.
That's now I know you parlay, but do you ever parlay other game? Like, do you ever do like City to win, Miami to win? Do you ever parlay multiple
Yeah,
games, or do you
I
usually stick to one game parlays?
in soccer I typically do the single game parlays, just because I don't really know about the other teams. I'll do it in other. I'll do it in other sports. Football is always fun to parlay multiple games. Um, if I were college basketball, March Madness time would be a great time to do that. College football playoff as well. That's always fun.
Do
But
you do you find it easier then to keep up with leagues if you don't necessarily have a rooting interest? Other teams in leagues,
yeah,
like
probably.
football, you don't really have like a team. So
I
is it easier
don't.
for to keep up with
Fo-
the? I know you're a big fan of football anyway, but like, and I know football, obviously the media coverage and
Yeah,
everything
that's
like that
it. That's
here.
that's it. It's just in your face, right? Football's
Mm,
everywhere, and I play. Everybody plays fantasy football, right? So it's like I've been in a fantasy league for going on 20 years. I think it's our 20th year coming up. Monday Morning Centerback and I have been in the same division for a long time. We dominate. We dominate that league, Eric.
I know you guys tell me, and I'm not even in it. You
Yeah,
let me know.
yeah. It's God. I think we've been in a league like 19 years. Our division, there's four of us. We've won that league. One of the four of us out of the 19 years, like 16 times or something. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's part of it. Is the football is just in your face. Like I love baseball and I watch a lot of baseball, but I don't know the players as much as I
Mm,
know the football players. Like it's everywhere. They're marketable and they're just in your face a lot. So, but with soccer, yeah, I mean, I could bet on other games, but it's such an unpredictable sport. I mean, it
mm,
really is. I think it's the most unpredictable sport. I really do because I could see the over under is 2.5 in this game. It was 2.5 last week too. Obviously, there were zero goals scored. You could have a scenario where that happened again. Maybe it's unlikely, but it certainly could happen. Or LAFC may score four. And it's like you just never
mm.
really know what's going to happen. And I think that's why I kind of like. I think that's why I got into betting it in the first place because it was kind of fun.
Mhm.
Lately, it's been difficult, but I think I'm making it harder on myself because I'm doing too many parlays and I need to get away from that. And I didn't used to do that. Now with this one, there will be no parlay. There will be a straight. I may bet corners. That might be a separate bet, but this will be a straight bet on City to win because the odds they're just too juicy. And I just don't think LAF I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see City being a 4-1 underdog when they've allowed 6 goals all year to anyone. Like I just think their chances of winning are better than that. To me, could be wrong. But that's how I see it.
That's almost the problem though, is that's how I feel like every fan sees it. They're like, they look at it and there's like, there's no way that this
Right.
team's gonna go
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
we're too good. We'll be
Yeah.
fine. And then you're
Yeah.
sitting there at the 30th minute down 2-0 and you're like, what the hell's going
Yeah. And then meanwhile, some guy at DraftKings sitting there laughing, saying he fell for it again. The lines were exactly where they needed to be. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I think it's probably shifted a little bit. I'll probably make this bet. I might make it tonight, actually, while I got it at plus 310. I'll probably do the draw no bet at plus 310 is really good. I don't want to give this too long to sit because as soon as people hear this, Eric, the line's going to shift. It's going to
on?
move. They're going to be on it. They're going to start betting this thing. And again, this comes out on Thursday. So by that point, it could be in the twos. I don't know. But right now, it's 310 on Monday night as we record this. And I'm going to be all over it.
They took away your corners last week or whatever because you talked about it too much.
I
Who knows
know.
what they'll
I
start
know.
taking
But they
away from
brought him,
there.
they brought him down, though. They brought him because I've stopped betting it. So the line has shifted, Eric. The line has shifted on corners. So now that I got back into it, I think, because they enticed me. We'll bring it down a little. We'll get him
Yeah,
back into
yeah,
it,
yeah.
right? And he's dumb enough to parlay it. So we're going to win his money anyway.
Does an app keep track of like like that, for instance, where it's like, oh, he hasn't bet this a while. He hit it for a while. Let me give him a number that just like
No,
is it? It's
because
not
they don't.
personalized,
It's
right?
not
It's
personalized.
general.
No, I just joke because I feel like I'm the only one that was out there betting
No, I
city
think
corners
I
regularly,
think
and
I think
I changed the line a little bit. Um, Regardless, it's a good odds. I think 310, 400, whatever you think about putting it in there with the draw option or not. There's money to be made on City this week, and Eric, I'm going to say City's going to win this thing 1-0. I think it's 1-0. I think they're going to shut them out. I don't make predictions very often. I certainly don't do it first. I can't see a lot of goals being scored, or I can. I don't know. I don't know really what I'm talking about most of the time when I'm given these things. But to me, 1-0 sounds right, and we're going to profit on City plus 310 all the way to the bank.
on it. Mine is it's tough to think. I think if we can keep them without a goal in the first 30 minutes, I think we come away with a 2-1 win. I
Hmm.
think that's going to be the key is they're going to come out quick and hot. I think, and they will stay. They're a team that will barrage you up until the 99th minute or whenever that final whistle blows. So, it's going to be a nerve-wracking one all the way to the end. But I just feel like this is a team that if they can get on a team early, boy, they feed off it and they attack and they attack and they really just get. So I think if we can keep them out of the net in the first 30 minutes, I see City coming away with a 2-1 win.
Wow.
I think one is going to be off a set piece, and I feel like one's going to be off a counterattack. I just have seen, rewatching them today, that's where it seems like they're a little weaker. I'm hoping we see Klaus getting back on the score sheet again. And I'd also like to see either Harder or Toychert. They've been a little quiet these past couple games. I know they're playing in a little bit different roles than they've been asked to in the past, but I just really, really would like to see one of those two get on the score sheet because, boy, if you can get your best offensive weapons clicking, they can really make a difference. Like hearing you read, thinking about that, we're tied for the best team in the league as far as goals given up, and just sitting there thinking like, if we could just have had even a little bit trending on offense in the right way, where this team really would be sitting on the not 12th, I'll tell you that much. So
No, probably not.
it's
Because
it's gonna
the
be
rest of the West outside of Vancouver, Austin, and Minnesota have all given up a lot of goals.
mhm. And so my worry is I know it's still real, fairly early, but you know, you got to go there and get some points because, pretty soon not you can't let, those 8-9 seeds start to gap and get away, and then you're really
Right.
looking at a tough road no matter who you're facing towards the end of the season. So I'm hoping 2-1 win. I'm hoping that we can just catch them. Like I said, LA's been up and down this year. They've been up, so I'm hoping we catch them on a down week. I'm hoping also it being an earlier match time. It's going to be closer to our normal match time. Not that that really makes that big of a difference, but let's just get back on the positive train. We got positive or good looking juicy odds, so we'll stick with good looking juicy results, and we'll go 2-1 win.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first, Eric. 2-1 for you, 1-0 for me. City comes away with the win in Los Angeles against the 7 ranked LAFC. Should be a fun one. And I don't provide betting advice at all, so please don't do what I do necessarily. But I am going to let you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go plus 310. I'm going to go draw no bet option on DraftKings, and I'm going to hammer City. I'm going to hammer him, Eric. That's what we're going to do in
How
that.
is it
Go
up
ahead.
till game time that those odds will shift till? Like once kickoff goes, is that locked in and you're good?
The live odds will then kick in, Eric, and you can bet on the live odds at that point.
Okay.
And
And
those are shifting
that'll
constantly.
have you ever like what's the big well, I guess it boy, did you watch that? You probably didn't. That Man U Lyon game
I did
for
not.
Europa.
Mm-mm.
So there were 5 goals scored in extra time. You imagine what the live bet and
Oh wow.
United were down 2 goals with I think like 5 minutes left to go.
Oh, it was probably like a plus
Came
two
back and won.
thousand.
I would
Like
love to see what the
yeah, it
the
would have been crazy.
the favors and stuff. Boy, you would have made a good
Yeah,
amount of money on that one.
yeah, it would have been nice.
But
Those are the things. But I mean, I don't usually bet those things because it's like it's such a there are people that do, like
Mm.
degenerates, like they bet that stuff. But like that's to me, I stay away from it because it never happens. It does once in a blue moon, right? It's so rare, but when it happens, it's sweet. But like I typically don't. But anyway, that's your STL Kalachi match week preview. Check out those Kalachis. Get them hot. 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. They do breakfast better. Eric, we go from one delicious food item to the other on this show. That's how we do it. We go from STL Kalachi over to Felix's Pizza Pub, South End Submissions, 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. They've been with us almost since the beginning, Eric, and we love Felix's. Great place, City on Tap Bar. Go check out the game. This would be a good place to do it on Sunday, actually,
Oh
at 6
yeah,
o'clock.
nice little
6 o'clock.
evening dinner
Yeah,
time.
not
Yeah.
too late. Go in there, have dinner, have a drink or two, and watch the City game against LAFC. Get some of those slices, which are enormous, and then also, of course, the award-winning wings, and you cannot forget that jalapeno drizzle. Some of the best stuff you're going to find out there. Eric, I'm sure we've got lots and lots of submissions to get through. We don't have lots and lots of time, I don't feel like, on this podcast, but I have a feeling that we're going to have to dedicate our time to some of these things. We've had tournaments, and all sorts of things get sent to us over the
Thrown our
last
way.
few
Yeah.
weeks. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and kick things off, though.
Let's kick it off. We had Muscle Monday. Now we got Tasty Thursday. That's how this show
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
We'll kick this one off from Matthew Keller. It was a late one last week. Sorry we missed it, but we're going to get to you here. He said, "Morning, y'all. I'm a new soccer fan and starting watching in January and adopted St. Louis. A couple podcasts ago, you mentioned Wednesday games and seemed to have some disdain for them. I'm curious as to why. As a truck driver who works weekends and lives in a couple states away, I'm excited for them. I will actually be attending both Wednesday games as mini vacations. Continue the good work, y'all. Love listening to the show." Well, first off, thank you for listening to the show and excited to have you on as City as your team. I think you made a good choice. For me personally, I work overnight jobs Sunday and Wednesdays. So my disdain comes from them is just either I have to put in PTO to go to the games, or if it's an away game, like it will be Sunday, I have to try and find time in the game to you know have my phone and I'm watching on a phone and it's just not as enjoyable for me as far as. And then obviously if it's a Wednesday game too or a Sunday game and it's typically a West Coast time, I just hate like, you know, super late and then up early middle of the week. So I think for me that's where my disdain comes from, the Wednesday games.
Yeah, this is purely a selfish thing.
Mhm.
100%. I like Wednesday games when they're at home and at a decent hour. To your point, I don't like the Wednesday night games that take place on the West Coast. I don't like any sport that takes place on the West Coast during the week. Cardinals games, Blues games,
Yeah.
whatever. It's not fun. I'm a Grizzlies basketball fan, which they had just an absolutely horrific showing, by the way, on Sunday afternoon. But if they go out west and play the Lakers or the Clippers or something, that's always rough. So it's just hard. It's just hard to watch those midweek because I get up early. So, I think that everybody works different schedules. For Eric, he's working on Wednesday night. I'm just working early on Thursday morning, so it's hard for me to stay awake. But nevertheless, I think all days with games or something to watch is a good thing. So I am pro Wednesday night soccer, Eric, taking that
Yeah.
stance.
Hey, and one of those Wednesdays, what next month coming up is Kansas City coming back. So
Yeah, that's right.
Matt, you picked a pretty good one to go check out. It'll hopefully things are turning in the right direction for us and they stay in that direction even though they got to win this past week for Kansas City and we can get one back on them
It's
when they
also
come back to
exciting
San
that
Jose.
even with the product that's been on the field lately, they can still generate new fans, Eric. So kudos
Oh
to
yeah.
City and welcome,
Yeah.
Matt.
Or maybe he like read the early season reports and was like, "Oh, they were finished good last year. This is going to be a good team to pick up." Yeah. Next, we'll go to our man Jeff Thornborough. He said, While the third trip to St. Louis in 1 week wasn't the charm I was looking for, I was definitely feeling happy after the performance of the boys. I thought Yarrow and Kyle played great. Yarrow can sometimes worry me, but he does make some great defensive plays with his quickness. The offensive attack seemed a little better in the final third. While I would love to see some improvement of ball movement in tight spaces, especially around the 18, we just don't seem to give ourselves small opportunities for a shot. Overall, very satisfied with the whole squad. and our local area talent who sung the national anthem once again provided to be a banger. Mrs. Southside had some chicken nuggets from chicken scratch with scratch sauce from chicken scratch, which she enjoyed thanks to Mrs. South End Cole. Enjoyed our
Wow.
visit with Eric, and regarding the area tornadoes, we suffered no problems, while the 7 houses across the street received thousands of dollars in damage.
Oh.
From Jeff Thornborough, the South State supporter and a great American, and he included. So I did get to meet up with Jeff pregame and his wife. It was great meeting her. He took a tour, like a new tour
Oh,
of the
very cool.
stadium, and he included a picture where he was at the press table where they do the
Nice.
the press show. So I thought that was pretty cool that he got to see that. But
Jeff is my
yeah, I
newest
think.
Facebook friend, by the way.
Oh yeah, nice,
Officially. Yes.
nice. Yeah, I always get excited. Unfortunately, Dave got there a little late, so he didn't get to meet him. But I was like pointing him out because he's in the section just to our right. But again, just all Sykeston, I think is where
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said
yeah,
they
yeah.
they come
I
from.
saw
And
because now that we're friends on Facebook, I think it's his
oh
boy plays baseball for Sykeston.
yeah,
So that's where
we were
Lambert's is
talking.
at too. The Throat Rolls. There's one
We
in
were talking
Sykeston.
about that about how he, for them with baseball, his kids they want to play the bigger schools, so a lot of times that requires hour travels
Travel.
here and
Yeah.
there, and you're not hitting the 10. He's so to him, he's kind of like, oh, I'm used to
Yeah,
driving
yeah,
at
yeah.
this point, so the
Makes
2 hour
sense.
drive or whatever it takes. But yeah, I mean, I agree with all those points that you put in there. I thought the defense. Those two players did look solid. We kind of highlighted that on the Tuesday episode about the offense and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, man, boy, City's had some great national anthem singers, so they always do. It's
Yeah,
it's
they do.
always it always just makes you realize just how geez bad you are at singing when you listen to somebody belt out like a national anthem. You're just
Right,
like,
right.
my God.
Except, man, I got these great acoustics in my bathroom, so the shower singing,
Oh
Eric, is
yeah,
pretty much on point right now for me. Yeah, I might record myself sometime.
yeah. Send in your tape. That would be awesome. Seeing you out there like singing the national anthem tonight,
Yeah,
David Heck.
yep.
That would be great. Next, we'll go to City's next coach, if it's up to us, Zach Gorski.
Gorski.
He said, number one, what's the deal with Ostrak? I don't understand why Olaf doesn't start the best 11. If Ostrak is on the bench when Morales or Watts is starting, there's no way he could say the best 11 is available or starting. For clarification, I do like Olaf and don't blame him for the lack of scoring. The boys had several great opportunities against two top teams. Olaf can't finish for the attackers. He's a good in game tactician. Number two, when is the next watch party at Felix's? Hashtag Team Flats. Well, you said that on the wrong episode there, brother.
Nobody to
Uh,
defend you, Gorski.
nobody. Oh
Nobody to
boy.
defend you here on this podcast. We
I'll
are
tell you what.
Team Drummy all day long.
I'm starting to question his sense as far as coaching
Yeah, I don't
ability.
know
I
if I
don't
could
know if
put
he can
him.
handle it.
I think Olaf's a flat guy too, potentially. So this could be sort of a trend here. I believe
You think
we
that's
need it.
been
We
the
need.
problem this whole time?
I think it
They've
could
just
be.
been.
I saw
Mm,
Carnell eating one time as well. I think that that
it
certainly
takes
could be part of the
longer
problem.
to eat a flat for us general people who don't
Yep.
shove the whole wing and out. That's why the offense is taking so long, is they're just used to this slow, methodical pace. Whereas, and
Part
I
of the
know
issue.
Kyle that you're going to say that you could show us all how to do it properly. The proper way is just to order drums. That's
Part of the issue with it, the lineups Gorski addressed earlier, and I think that it goes without saying that when your hands are still very sloppy from a flat, you tend to make smudges if you were dealing with paperwork. Maybe the
oh
lineup
boy.
cards he's turning in
Uh-huh.
are not accurate in the rep size because they've got barbecue and hot sauce stains all over it because he can't clean his hands in time.
Morales is 27, I believe, and Ostrak is 7. Could
Yeah,
that barbecue smudge have been in there?
could
And
have,
then all of a
could have.
sudden, Ostrak's sitting
That's
there
a
on the
flat
bench
issue.
wondering what's
That
going
doesn't
on.
happen. That doesn't happen if you're eating drummies. Doesn't happen. It's a cleaner wing. And Gorski, I think you're off on this one.
Yeah, I agree. So once you switch to the proper side, we'll maybe agree with you. But I do agree here with you there. I think Ostrak should have been, and I'm not sure about from the start, but watching the way that game was going, um, I do. That's where I think Ostrak should have got. That's where your last sentence there. He's a good in-game tactician, as long as it's maybe. I will say maybe. Next, we'll go to David Thompson. He said Mackay Joyner needs to start and keep starting. He will start scoring if he's playing. We need more danger in our attack. Our central midfield actually pressured Vancouver's center mids, which helped keep possession close to 50-50. Yeah, I think it was great finally seeing just a little bit more of a press and a unified press, and I do think that's what caused a lot of turnovers and chances for City going forward. I hope they continue that kind of going into LAFC. Makai Joyner, I agree. I think he needs to be getting a first team contract. It sucks for City too because we would be taking a talented player starting. I don't know. I think he still needs to develop in a few areas physically as well as just getting up to speed with that level. But you know, at the end of the day, if the kid comes out there and starts performing, who am I to say keep him on the bench or start him? So
If he
let
can
it go.
provide offense, like what do you got to lose at this point? I feel like
100%. Yeah. We'll go to our man Tommy Beck. He said, "My wife had adopted Inter Miami as her second team and watches every game she can. Obviously, the Messi effect. What are your guys' thoughts on having a second team, and do you have any? Not limited to MLS. I've always rooted for the Indians/Guardians and Maple Leafs. Also, we almost had the first SCSP related death last week. Oof. I was listening to the pod at the gym. I was in the middle of my squat as DH read ChatGPT's take on Ronald McDonald's versus the King Death Machine and started laughing so hard I had to drop the bar to avoid being crushed. Who knew this pod was so hazardous?"
yeah, I'm sorry. I think we should probably start putting a disclaimer out there for
Disclaimer.
people. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't suggest lifting weights and listening to this at all, actually.
Yeah.
I think you need some heavy metal music or maybe some hardcore rap, something to really get
Yeah.
the blood pumping. I apologize, Tommy Beck. I won't make that mistake. Well, I can't control it. Just don't
Yeah.
lift. Don't lift and listen to it. That easy.
I'll give you a little preview, Tommy Beck. You may want to like switch over here in a couple minutes because we may have some
Yeah.
more brackets coming your
Yeah, there's
way
another
that you may
bracket
want to.
coming. I can't do it. I think that I understand it. You know, growing up, I was a fan of certain players as a kid, especially. I was a big Frank Thomas fan. So I think I watched some White Sox games as a kid, and like I probably pulled for them a little bit. But you know, I just shifted away from it. I can't. I understand it. I get it. And if you know you're a Guardians fan or you like the Maple Leaves, that's fine. And you know, I don't think there's an issue there. I think the only sport I'm going to totally go against what I just said. The only sport that I do, because I do this in college, I do root for all the local college teams. So if SLU is
Mhm.
competitive, I'm rooting for SLU. I'm rooting for Mizzou, and I'm going to root for Illinois. If Illinois and Mizzou play each other, I root for Mizzou, as I would imagine Tommy Beck would root for the Blues over the Maple Leaves and the Cardinals over the Guardians. But if they were playing anybody else, he would root for them. It's kind of how I am with Illinois. The year that they went to the Final Four, went to the finals, and lost to North Carolina in what, oh 05? I think it was oh 05. I think it was. You know, I
Yeah,
rooted for
something like that.
Illinois. I rooted for Illinois,
Mhm.
big time, right? And I have no problem with people saying, "Oh, you're a Mizzou fan. How could you?" Because I just want all of them to be successful. It's more fun
Mhm.
for me that way. And football would be no different. Like I'm going to root for Mizzou if Illinois is competitive. Rarely are they in that sport. Then I will root for them as well. So I don't. I guess I don't have a problem with it. I just don't have it for any of the professional teams.
Yeah. Um, I can't do it. You know me
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
passion that I almost have disdain for any other team and stuff like that. The Monday Morning Sitter back today, he texted in about Leeds and Burnley getting promoted. And all I could think about is Leeds is one of Manchester United's older rivals, and Burnley still just has a bad taste in my mouth from you changing my
yeah,
laptop screen all
yeah. I'm
those
a big
years.
Burnley guy.
And like, so like, I mean, my worry, I guess the only case that I could see maybe is just if it's like different leagues for soccer where you like Milan because they play in
Right,
Italy
of
and you like
course.
something like that, like it's got to be totally separate. um just because I would never want to have like confliction when those teams play. Like I'm so passionate about my team, I couldn't imagine like liking somebody else.
Right.
I'm more with you. You brought up a great point where I could like players for other teams. But you want to see almost like that guy do good, just not the team do so good that they, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like baseball is a good sport where like you have a player that you enjoy watching hit. or something like that, or especially if they play your position, you kind of like a player that
Yep.
from a different team. But I don't know if I could ever do um, another another team in any sport. It would just I don't know. I couldn't do it personally, but I do know a lot of people that our buddy Sparkles. He seems to root for a couple teams at a time,
Yeah.
depending on the flag that's hung up on the wall, and so he seems very happy that way. But
You know what we say
um,
though on this podcast, Eric? We say fan how you want to fan. You know,
exactly,
that's
100%,
what it's
yeah.
all about.
And honestly, to his point, the Messi effect. I mean, that's going to bring how many kids do you see walking around the St.
I
Louis area
live
with
with
Messi
one.
jersey?
I
You're
live with
right,
one, Eric. He doesn't
right.
have one because I haven't bought. I refused to buy him one.
Good
I
on you.
said you can have an Argentina jersey. That's fine. Even though I don't
Hmm.
love that either, because it's like, dude, wear a Pulisic jersey.
Yeah.
Wear a Josh Sargent jersey. You don't need an Argentina jersey. Like we don't live in Argentina. You're not getting an Inter Miami jersey. I told him that. It was very clear. So he doesn't have one. It's bad enough I got to stare at this Chief stuff all the time.
I was going to say a lot of cheap stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But honestly, if anything, Tommy Beck, I would, yeah, can you listen to podcasts while you work out? I can't because of that fact. If ever there's a time something's funny said, because like I said before, I listen to a lot of comedic podcasts.
Yeah, so do
I
I.
can't be midway through and start laughing because I'll be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't. No, I need to, in order to lift. And I lifted today for the first time in a little while. Eric, I've noticed that I've gotten a little scrawny, which is odd for me because I used to be like obese, and now, like I wear t-shirts and like some short sleeve button downs. It's short sleeve button down season for me,
Hmm. Yep.
and I've got a good rotation of them, very comfortable. I got them from Men's Warehouse. They fit really well. They're not a sponsor of this show, I don't believe yet, Eric. Marketing department will have to get on that.
Hmm.
But I put them on the other day, and like I don't fill them out anymore. They're like sloppy on me. So
Mm.
tonight I made filet, so I got some steak, got some protein, hit the gym, got the pump going. I need to bulk up a little bit again. That's what I'm looking to
Mm.
do. So I don't remember why I started talking about that. Oh, because you asked about the podcast at the gym.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't lift weights while listening to things. I need music. I need
Yeah, me too.
like hard music in order for me
Hmm.
to like really get the effective gains that I'm looking for.
No, 100%. Yeah, it is short sleeve button down season, and you are right. Those are the shirts I feel like of any like you have to
You
like
want to fill them out.
fill them out,
You
or
want to
else
fill
they
them
can
out.
either look sloppy if they're too
Yeah,
big, and then
exactly.
obviously too tight. You don't want those
I
buttons
look like
screaming.
when I'm wearing these things now. I look like a middle-aged man wearing a Hawaiian shirt. That's what I look like at this point. I don't want to look like that. I'm not ready to look like that yet.
I know I love those dudes. Look, that's awesome. Next, he's back and he's got the ringer going. It's Ryan Kadlick. He said, in honor of the best Monday morning center back in the business, I'm back. The double MCB, which I'm calling him that from now on. The double MCB asked for one weekly, so here we go with part three. Instead of doing food this week, let's move to the sports and go tag teams. Same usual format: 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, and 4v5. High seed versus low seed, but don't worry, the King and Ronald will eventually be back for the Tournament of
Oh
Champions.
my God.
So this one's going to be
First of all,
tough.
why does he like Dave so much? Like I couldn't when I read that I was like, man,
You
he's
you
like,
you kind of it's like Gorski. The second he threw out flats, I'm like, oh man,
oh my
this guy
God, I
had me
know.
all the way up here, and then once you said that, it's like, boy,
I was a big
it's like
Gorski
Ocampo.
guy.
It's like Ocampo flopping on the field. If I'm
Yeah,
the ref, all of a sudden you just lost my trust.
I know, I know. You can't trust either one of them anymore. But this love for the Monday morning center back that old
Coming up with
Cadsy's displaying, I don't know,
little
man.
nicknames of the double
Yeah, oh
MCB.
yeah, yeah. They're
Oh
like
man.
buddy buddy all of a sudden.
Yeah. Maybe he's like a Femni, and it's just Dave
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what it is.
profile
One of
picture.
Dave's personas out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of them. So at the one seed, he's got Gritty and the Philly Fanatic from the Philadelphia Flyers and Phillies. The two seed, we've got Fredbird and Louie from obviously the Cardinals and the Blues. Clark and Benny the Bull from the Chicago Cubs and the Bulls. Four, we've got Rocky and Dinger from the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Rockies. Five, we've got Lucky Leprechaun and Blades, the Boston Celtics and the Bruins. Number six, we got Mr. Met and Sparky the Dragon from the New York Mets and Islanders. Seven, Rampage and Bailey, the Los Angeles Rams and Kings. and then Billy Buffalo and Sabretooth from the Buffalo Bills and the Sabres. Also,
Okay.
this episode will drop on Thursday. The Blues play tonight, so let's go Blues.
It's
Yes,
currently two
let's
to one
go.
Winnipeg. I've been following this
Wow.
with like 9 minutes left to go in the game. So it was
Hopefully, we have a
1-1 going into
turnaround
the
like game
third.
one, though.
Yeah, hopefully. Just not the finish that took place in game one. I had to pull this up on Facebook because this is impossible to follow. So I have it pulled up. Gritty and Philly Fanatic go against Billy Buffalo and Sabretooth
Hmm.
for the Bills and Sabres. I would be lying if I knew who either of those
So
mascots
I was gonna say that
were.
the tough thing is for me, I only know like a handful of these. Majority of them are the basketball teams, and then obviously like the St. Louis
I know the baseball
player.
mascots. I mean, like the Philly Fanatic's such a classic mascot. I think he puts that snout, that big snout that he's got, right up against one of these guys, and I think I just think he neutralizes any saber tooth attack. There's a reason why they're the 8 seed and the Fanatic is the 1 seed. Plus, I think the Philly Fanatic, I think he plays in some shenanigans. So I think that in terms of tag team action, you're going to get some it's kind of like Ric Flair. I don't know if anybody watched WrestleMania, but a little Cena-esque over the weekend, which was a disappointing main event, I thought. But I'm going to take Philly Fanatic and Gritty here all day.
I mean, it's gonna be tough to dethrone those two because Gritty, if I'm familiar, like he's known for just beating up fans
Okay,
and
that's a
messing the
problem.
fans around.
Yeah,
So
Philly, they're just
if he's
tougher in
if they're
Philadelphia.
messing with if they're messing plus Philadelphia, yeah, we've touched on it before about how Philly fans can
Yeah.
be, not the nicest. So I think if they're doing that to fans, you put them in a I feel like a tag team matchup is what those two were made for. So it's going to be tough dethroning those. So the Philly Fanatics are moving on. Next, we've got Fred Bird and Louie. They're taking on Rampage and Bailey from the Los Angeles Rams and
It's
Kings.
an insta call for me. No, this Rams mascot will be eliminated immediately. I won't have them advancing.
Mhm.
I don't like them or what they stand for as an organization. It's just dumb mascot. I don't know what Bailey is, but it's probably dumb as well. I'm taking Fred Bird and Louie to advance here.
And round one, you're going to match up St. Louis against the Rams. Like,
Oh,
come on,
good,
what are we
good,
doing here?
good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Get
What are we
rid of
doing
him.
here,
Get
Captain?
him out of here. Get him
Get
out of
them out
here.
of here.
That's a. By the way,
Next,
that's what they would call jobbers in the wrestling lingo. The 7 seed there, Rampage sucks. It's really just to get Fred Bird and Louis over and
hmm
have them advance, right? So they've got a lot of
yeah.
heat with the crowd at this point, and that was a quick match. It was a squash match, as they
Yeah.
call it in wrestling. So yeah, looking forward to seeing those two advance.
Plus, you feel like uh, whichever the mascot for the Rams is, he would probably just turn on his partner at one point and
Yeah,
get out of there.
exactly right.
It seems the
Exactly
way
what
they
it would
go.
do. Yep.
Number three, we've got Clark and Benny the Bull from the Chicago Cubs and the Bulls taking on Mr. Met and Sparky the Dragon, the New York Mets and Islanders. Now, to me, it sounds I got to look up Sparky, but it comes across as like you got a softy and then you're hardcore on each team. Like
Yeah.
one of them's a little, Mr. Met is just a goofy guy with a baseball
As a
face.
head.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then um I know Benny the Bull, he's aggressive
He
from
is
the Bulls.
aggressive.
He would do some work, but Clark from the Chicago Cubs, I'm just picturing a stuffed teddy bear.
Yeah, I
I mean,
can't. I think that Mr. Met headbutts him a couple of times. I mean, it's a head's a baseball, right? Like
it is a baseball.
that's painful. I think
Hmm.
what happens here is I think that Benny the Bull gets him disqualified. I think is what happens.
Oh,
I think it's excessive horn use. And
uh,
unfortunately, they're going to have to bow out of this thing. And I think we got our first upset. I think that Mr. Met and Sparky the Dragon take this
okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. All right. We'll go with that. In our last first round matchup, we've got Rocky and Dinger from the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Rockies taking on Lucky the Leprechaun and Blades from Boston. Now, Lucky the Leprechaun, he doesn't. I mean, I know he's got that Boston stuff going, but to me, he just doesn't seem like he's got it. got that. I don't know, but maybe it's a Wendy situation where
Yeah,
he's feisty.
I agree. I kind of agree with you here. I think that when I think of Lucky the Leprechaun, going back to WWE, I think of Hornswoggle. I don't know if you remember Hornswoggle. There was a gimmick that they had. It was Mr. McMahon's son for a little bit. I just, not really going to be able to cut it against a guy like Rocky or Dinger. I don't think, Eric. I don't see how they win this thing.
So Dinger's like a Triceratops, but it looks like a Barney style Triceratops.
Oh,
So that boy, when you bring that like friendly face in there, it kind of brings it down a little bit. Um, but which one was it? Whose fan is it? The Magic, where it's like the I don't know, but he comes flying out of the rafters and doing all that type of stuff.
yeah.
I
I
feel
know
like he
almost
should have been there.
nothing. I know almost
I don't
nothing
either.
about these mascots, Eric.
So how are we feeling? Are we
I'm,
going
I'm gonna I'm
Rocky
gonna
and
go
Ding?
Rocky. I'm going Rocky and Dinger here.
So I'm going based off two solid names, Rocky and Dinger. Blades to me is the only,
Yeah, yeah.
solid name in that one. So we've got one upset in the first round. So 1 through 3, we've got Gritty and the Philly Fanatic, and they're taking on Mr. Met and Sparky the Dragon.
I'm going Gritty and Philly again. Again, I think they just work too well together. I think they're going to play
Mm-hmm.
off each other well. They're one of those teams that are going to drag the opponent into their corner and just constantly make tags, do a lot of foot stomps, in the corner itself, use the turnbuckle to their advantage. Probably some high risk maneuvers as well coming off the top rope. I think those two, they just play well together, and I just don't see them getting upset here in the semis.
No, this is one of those like what do they call them? I haven't watched it in so long, but like one of those hardcore tag
Yeah,
team where
agreed,
they
agreed.
they will they want the ladders, they want the tables, they want it all. And then we've got Fredbird and Louie taking on Clark and Benny the Bull. So the Chicago Cubs,
Yeah, it's the
boy, we gotta
Cardinals
we
are
gotta
winning this, right? Like I can't see how they lose.
yeah, I'm with you there, but unfortunately they're gonna in the finals take on Gritty
It's going to be
and the Philly
tough.
Fanatic.
It's going to be tough, yes, and we are in
Fredbird's
fact.
got a lot of tricks. Fredbird's got a lot of
Yeah,
tricks.
yeah, he does. He does.
He's tricky.
He does. Yeah, I think that I think Fred Bird and Louis though they take the semis and they would again. It'd be a classic 1 versus 2 here. It's exactly what you want. This is what you're wanting to bracket. It all worked out. This is better, I think, matchup wise than his fast food ones,
Fast food.
because we've got a true 1 versus 2 here, and this is what people want. Eric, what are your thoughts on Gritty and the Philly Fanatic versus Fred Bird and Louis?
This is tough because you're betting against your home, or you could be betting against your home team. Again, I've seen what those guys do just to. I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like Louis brings this down a little bit. I feel like he's just too nice. The kids love him. I know the kids love Fred Bird and everything. I feel like the kids are almost afraid of Gritty and the Philly Fanatic at those games. So, unfortunately, I hate to do it, but I think the Phillies taking this one
Well, here's what
in an all
ChatGPT
right. Yes.
Here's what ChatGPT has to say about this, Eric.
Mhm.
And we're going to go with this. So the tail of the tape here, you've got Gritty. Signature move, by the way, the grit check, body slamming while making intense eye contact. The Philly Fanatic does the snout slam. It's a headbutt with that long, fuzzy snout. Those are
Mm.
devastating moves, I think, by those two. Whereas Fredberg brings the beak bash, which is a peck and pirouette combo. A peck
Mm.
and pirouette combo. I'm not sure what a pirouette is. I think it's a figure skating move. And then the blue line breaker, which is a devastating hockey style hip check, which is what Louis brings to the table. Now, the crowd energy. Philly mascots thrive on heat. The more booed, the more powerful. So there is no question
Mm.
that you have a true face in the
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis team versus a true heel in Philadelphia. And of course, they are thriving on being the heel there. Now, the chemistry, right? The fight analysis, we get into the chemistry. Philly mascots are chaotic, but synergistic. I said this earlier, right? They work well together like a tornado and a trampoline working together. I don't really know what that means, but that's what ChatGPT says here. Whereas the STL mascot's a little bit more balanced with Fredbird's showmanship and Louis' power. They think he's got a little bit of power. And I could see Fredbird kind of strutting around a little bit, right? Like he would do
Mm.
some sort of a move, and then all of a sudden you kind of get the feathers feathers, kind of, it's a little clucking, or I mean, I don't guess it'll
Yeah.
cluck. It's not a chicken, but you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Now, here's how this goes. And ChatGPT has predicted a winner. This match quickly descends into madness. And in that
Hmm.
chaos, Philly shines. Gritty goes feral early, distracting Louis. The fanatic, ever the opportunist, deploys his ATV to knock Fredbird over the ropes. And a final
Oh, I
blow,
forgot.
a tag team finisher. Gritty launches the fanatic from the top rope like a fuzzy missile. And then a 3 count pin for Gritty and the Philly Fanatic. The fuzzy missile, Eric, and the
Mhm.
ATV, which to me sounds cheap, but I guess in this match, no
Yeah.
holds barred. We'll give it to the Philly Fanatic and Gritty.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that classic match.
It was a good one.
It sounds like
5-star match.
all those finishers, by the way, are just phenomenal. Everyone you read, I smiled on my face. But yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Philly takes it on that one. Next, we'll move our way over to Instagram. And just when you thought the bracket combat was over,
Oh,
oh
great.
no,
Let's go
this is
another
what
hour and a half tonight then.
we if we're known for anything in the St. Louis area, it is mythical combat brackets. And our buddy Alan Anani, I hope I pronounced your last name, comes in with another one for us. He said, another great episode. The fast food bracket was funny. Speaking of Dragon Ball Z and other brackets, who would win with Goku versus Superman? You should also add this to the next bracket. We've got Optimus Prime taking on Iron Man, Hellboy versus Batman, John Constantine versus Doctor Strange, Spawn versus Green Lantern, and The Crow versus Blade.
So let
So
me
we'll
let me say
start
this.
out.
I
Yes.
don't watch any of these movies. Okay, like I'm not a superhero movie guy. I also
Okay.
never watched Dragon Ball Z. I am
Mhm.
familiar with the name Goku.
Okay.
I don't care who it is. You're not beating Superman. Like,
Oh.
not gonna happen. Can't beat Superman unless Goku's got some crazy power that I didn't know about. It's Superman. Superman is the perfect superhero, Eric. Do you know why he's the perfect superhero?
Why?
Because he was born a superhero, right? Superman is the superhero. Clark Kent is his alter ego. It's not the other way around, which you see traditional superheroes, right? This guy's
Mhm.
from planet Krypton. He came to the Earth, I should say.
Mhm.
I guess America as well, but the Earth. And he is the ultimate superhero for that reason. Like he's got true superpowers. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. He wins in all matches unless Goku happens to have some secret stash of kryptonite.
And you made a really good case there. I was actually more leaning pro Goku. Again, I'm not as familiar. I watched very little Dragon Ball Z, but I know when he goes Triple Saiyan, it's there's no stopping that. No
That's
force on
Superman's
earth.
normal speed, right? Like that's his normal
Uh, I
speed.
don't I don't know. And those Dragon Ball Z, every episode I saw, like there was just no stopping.
Yeah,
But
because Superman
I
wasn't in
do
Dragon Ball
know
Z.
I do know that I've seen an episode where I believe Goku dies. I don't think I've seen an episode where Superman dies. So I'll give you that one. So we'll go Superman making his way past that. Next, we've got Optimus Prime versus Iron Man. To me, this one's an easy one. I think Iron Man moves
Yeah,
on.
I'm
I think
bowing
he's
out of the
got
rest of this, by the way.
I think he's got some sort of laser out his arms that's just gonna cut Optimus Prime in half. Unfortunately, we've got Hellboy versus Batman. I'm not as familiar with Hellboy. I do know a little bit, but I just Batman never loses.
Very
Batman
cool.
never loses.
Batman's
Yeah,
very cool.
you
Yeah.
can't. I don't think you could beat Batman. So we'll go Batman. John Constantine versus Doctor Strange. I'm going Doctor Strange just because of Constantine, which our buddy Sparkles again
Mm.
just absolutely is ruined for me. He did on your wedding cruise. And so without a doubt, I'll go Doctor Strange there. Spawn versus Green Lantern. I'm only really familiar with Green Lantern more than Spawn. Have you seen any of the Spawns?
I haven't seen any of these.
Okay. So Green Lantern with his ring can make whatever, and I feel like at some point that's coming into play as far as trapping um, Spawn. And then the Crow versus Blade. I'm gonna go with Blade. So we've got Superman taking on Blade. To me, that feels to your
Yeah. Are we doing a whole
point that you made
bracket? Are we doing a
earlier.
whole bracket on this?
We'll knock it out real quick. It'll be quick. Iron Man versus Green Lantern. We'll go Iron Man, and then Batman versus Doctor Strange. Ooh, we'll just for fun just say Batman. We ended up with three. So between Superman, Iron Man, and Batman, give me your pick.
Superman. Superman can't
We're
lose.
sticking with
I mean,
Superman.
unless they have kryptonite, no one can beat him.
Yes. Yeah. I think you hate to say it because it just feels like a true one, so you're just walking away with it. But
It's just too. He's
I
too
don't think
powerful.
I don't think any click from Iron Man's going to save him on that one. You won't
No,
get that because
no.
you didn't see the movies. But unfortunately, and especially because I'm more of a Marvel fan than DC, it looks like Superman's going to take this one.
Yeah.
We'll move on from there. That was fun. I know you didn't like it, but two two battle brackets back to back. Like, what more could you ask from a soccer podcast,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Mythical
Are
as
we? Do
well.
we talk about soccer on this podcast anymore? I can't remember.
It's been a while. Next, we'll go to our man Eric O'Donnell. He said, "What did I miss while in Vegas?" I believe he was actually out in Vegas for WrestleMania with his family. So
Really?
I think I
A
know he's out
2 day
there, and
event at Allegiant
I forget
Stadium.
if he said just his kids were going or he was going, but he was out in Vegas. So
Man, that's awesome.
what did you miss? You missed a pretty good game. I didn't watch. You said you watched WrestleMania. I didn't watch it. So like, was it good out there? Did he miss
I
anything
thought
there?
Saturday night was better than Sunday. They did a 2 day event
Oh, okay.
for WrestleMania. Now they've expanded into 2 days. I thought it was better. I thought the main event just lacked a little bit with Cena
All
and
I've
Cody Rhodes. Honestly,
all I've seen is spoiler alert for anybody was that John Cena, I guess, won in his last WrestleMania. I saw apparently The Rock ruined it, and I saw Stone Cold hit a fan with his ATV, and people are
yeah,
suspecting he was drunk.
dude. Like, okay, here's the thing: The Rock didn't show up, which was a bummer because Travis Scott
Oh,
ended up being the one interfering in the main event, and that just didn't do it for me.
oh,
It
okay.
wasn't that great. The ATV incident with Steve Austin. I think the person that got she didn't get hit. First of all, he hit the wall, and the wall bumped up against her, and she looked really pissed about it.
Hmm.
I think she overreacted. I would have been
Oh,
laughing this
really?
off. Like, dude, it could not have hurt that bad. I mean, she was up against the wall. He hit the wall with the ATV, and she went back into the chair. I haven't read anything on this, so like, if she's really injured, then by all means, like, I apologize. I'll put that
Yeah.
disclaimer out there. It didn't
Uh-huh.
look that bad when it happened.
Yeah. No, the only thing I saw was I guess he also crashed trying to go backstage. So
Well, that was
with his
after a few Steve
reputation,
Weisers.
people are thinking that, maybe he was drunk
Yeah,
when he was rolling around and stuff like that.
certainly
So
could have
that's
been.
could have been. Next, we'll make our way over to Reddit to finish out these submissions for the night. We'll kind of do like we do usually. Some of these are long and kind of giving their opinion. We'll just kind of pick through them, but we want to make sure we shout everybody out. We'll start out with one of the best names, Flip Flop Kitten Hands. All day I've been stressing, making sure I
Yeah,
said the
because
kitten
it's
part
not
of that one.
kitten. It's not kitten.
Yeah, it's not
But
kitten.
but Eric, this is a family program.
This is this is unless you're trying to say what was I trying to say? Sit that one time and
Yeah,
spoke
yeah.
too quick.
It's okay. It
Uh,
happens.
they basically said that they're optimistic about seeing a little bit of improvement over the past few matches, given the injuries and stuff like that. But they're kind of similar to us, where they're getting a little frustrated, feeling like the game's there to be won, and Olaf maybe isn't taking as much advantage as they could. But they said, final thought, dear God, we need some better quality on the right side. There's no trust in the build down the right without Totland, and it's leaving SETI isolated and trying to pick up scraps coming from the left. Yeah, I do feel like really as far as our offense, if there's anything going forward right now, it's pretty much all down that left side with Wallum and Celio. So hopefully bringing Tots back will bring a little bit more involvement down the right side and can get Toychert back involved. He's just really been struggling finding himself in the game, as well as Hartle having to drop so far back. So we're missing that connection between the two of them. Maybe if we get a little bit more of a supporting right back, like Tots coming in going forward, that can kind of help bring him back into the game. We've got total underscore ordinary 8738, or excuse me, 8736, who, with as long as the aggravating cut 7596, and who else? Educator guilty 8299, all commented on Dave on Saturday. Stopped by and he got that chicken burrito
Oh
from
yeah, yeah.
Soul
Soul
Taco.
Taco. It's a
So a
good
lot
one.
of people in here were saying just how, great that burrito is, and I still put that as I think my number one.
It is great.
But Total Ordinary also said, also glad there were a couple improvements from the last week. So it is seeming like some, people are kind of feeling a little bit more optimistic as far as kind of stuff goes. Away Evening 7447 said, honestly thought we played well, better opportunities I think than Vancouver had, which I do agree with that. I did feel in that game more like we were a little bit on the better side. Um, Hard to keep my head above water when the refs are deciding that a deliberate action was not deliberate, making Wallem offsides. But what are you going to do? Also, wishing to just see a little more rotation during games. Better to see guys get at least 20 minutes instead of like 5, like against Columbus. Also, the Asian handicap. All right, you got to pay
Here we
attention to this
go.
because this is way. So, negative 0.25 goal start means you're betting on a 0 goal start and a negative zero point 0.5 goals start. So to win the bet, your team has to win. If they draw, you lose half your bet. And if they lose, you lose it all.
Okay. Okay.
Did you understand that? Because I just spoke Spanish to myself.
Well, I don't understand why it's 0.25. I don't really get that, but I do understand that if you draw, you lose half your bet. If you win it all. I'd have to think about like what the point 0.5 and the 0.75 and all that means as well. I don't know if I'm ready to start betting Asian handicaps yet. I am curious, Eric, as you continue through the rest of these submissions. I'm going to go back and see if there is an Asian handicap listed for LAFC and St. Louis City this weekend, because if there is, and I have it right here, there is. Let's see. The Asian handicap is over 2.5. I have no idea what that means. You can explain this to me 1,000 times. I don't know what that
I would
means.
say we've had it 3 times now, and we're still trying to figure it out. But
Oh, it's over
on the betting,
2.75. That's all I know.
oh, okay. Well, on the betting topic, our Matt Schuessler also had one, and this is one that you would have is what would happen if you place a sports bet and the game doesn't get played due to rain? The boys worked their butt off tonight, so close to beating the number one team. That is a good question. What does I'm assuming it's just all bets are negated.
Yeah, it would be. They would give you the bet back if it was
Now,
postponed.
and that wouldn't like let's say it's postponed to the next day. Would it still be completely off, or would that they just try and carry your bet over to the next day?
The one sport that this would happen most frequently in is baseball, and I that's the sport
Mm-hmm.
I bet the least. But I would have to think they would give it back to you because theoretically, lineups could change, odds could
Yeah.
change, and in baseball, pitching
Weather.
matchups could change, weather, like a lot of things would change. I think if the game is postponed to the next day, they would have to give it back. I think.
I think to cover their butts, just to make it easier.
Yeah.
Hey, if you like those odds, just go ahead and place them back in. Like, I think it's probably I'm assuming
Yeah,
would
I
be
should
just
know
the
that,
best
but
bet.
I just don't. I just don't.
I don't think we've had very many instances where you would know that. So that is a
Like I
good
said,
question, but I would
I don't
assume
bet
they'd give it
on.
back.
I really don't bet on baseball, and so that's the one sport where it would happen fairly regularly compared to other sports, right? And so if I bet on baseball, I'd probably have a better answer. I don't.
Yeah, I would assume that, like you said, that's just
Yeah, they
come
would have
back
to.
if you want to
Yeah.
replace it in. And then we'll finish up tonight. Sorry if I did miss any, but if we did miss it, please send them to me so we can make sure we get you. But we will finish up tonight with They Call Me Sly Fox. They said A, an interesting choice for Vancouver to play 10 wet tissues that night. B, Watts had a very good night after some struggles early in the season. I agree with that. C, the refereeing last night was unique. Not sure if it hindered or helped us more, but it was something. D, as we head to LA this week, what's your Hollywood/actor name? Also, here's one from late last week. If soccer wasn't played with the soccer ball, but any other sports ball item, what would be your choice for the most challenging and most entertaining? Can be two different answers, and it probably should be. So let's go back to the first one with the Hollywood actor name.
What is
I
our Hollywood actor name?
What is your Hollywood
How
actor
do we
name?
determine that? Is there a formula to use for that?
That's a good question. I know I just have a feeling for me, like if I were to pick an actor name for me, I don't know what my last name would be, but I feel like my first name would just be Cole.
Okay.
It's already a first name. It's something I'm used to hearing all the time, so it's not like I'm, not reacting. If I was a Hollywood actor, I'm assuming people are calling my name. I feel like Cole something would be like my actor name, to where it's like it's already something I'm called pretty regularly. It's just it's a first name for some people as it is. I
Yeah.
think that would be my.
When I close my eyes and see my name up on the marquee, just super bright, and the bulbs popping around it, I only see one name, and that's Dirk Diggler. I think I have to go Dirk Diggler here, Eric. That's my answer.
Oh, I love that. Dirk Diggler. Oh, I can't wait to hear like what the Monday Morning Center back's name is. I hope it's something roller grill related. Like,
Yeah. Or Roller
or,
Girl
or
related if we stay on the Boogie Nights theme. Either way.
there you go. All right. If soccer wasn't played with a soccer ball, but any other sports ball slash item, what would be your choice for the most challenging and the most entertaining? Boy, maybe the most challenging. Let's just say a bowling ball.
Yeah, that would be really
That'd
hard.
that'd be pretty challenging. I
Yeah,
think
that wouldn't
be
be
a pretty
good.
slow game. I would
Yeah,
say
a lot of
that.
broken
Yeah.
feet would not
Not a
be
lot of
fun.
crosses. It
No,
would get
very
us
few
away from playing the
crosses.
ball over the top, that's for sure. It would just be
Yeah,
nice, short, crisp passes. You'd
you
get it
would
off your feet quick.
you would hate to have to play that ball up your head on like a throw in. That would be
Yeah,
bad.
you
More concussions would take place in that one. That would be the most challenging for sure.
love to see what like. Well, I guess they wouldn't really need like much padding, but like goalkeepers, I guess the
Yeah,
ball's not really coming that
it's not
quick
moving that
at you.
hard.
So
No, no.
I would, yeah. To me, just bowling ball popped right out. Entertaining. Ooh, that'd be. Trying to think of all options that would be. I mean, obviously, like football stands out just because of its odd shape, or like a rugby ball.
Yeah, that was where I was going as well.
Entertaining.
What is a
Basketball
ball?
doesn't really make sense.
No, what's a ball you could like maybe like a volleyball because it would be super light and you could probably kick that really hard. That
A
would be
kickball out
entertaining.
there, like an old
Yes.
school red
Yeah,
kickball that
something like that.
when it bangs off somebody. Yeah,
Just like
that'd be
something
fun.
super bouncy and rubbery, you know?
Ooh,
Um,
racquetball even like you could get
okay.
a racquetball
Yeah, but like
maybe
a
on them.
bigger version of a racquetball.
Yeah.
So it had the same springy effect, but it would be, cover more surface area.
Did you ever play cage ball when you were in grade school?
No, but I like it. I don't know what it is.
It's
Sounds cool.
basically like it's like a exercise ball times maybe two or three.
Okay.
So
That,
like, those exercise balls that
oh yeah.
it's that and but the way we played it was just like volleyball. So you'd need like a whole class to get under that thing and play it. Imagine if like they were playing with like a big exercise ball to where it's like yeah, you kick it but a good wind gust and that thing's going straight into your
I think they
your
should
opposing goal.
I think they should get inside the exercise balls instead. So, like, what are
Those
the
orbs,
yeah, get in those orbs, and that's what the
I
players should
love
have to
that.
run around in. So then, when they collide, they would just go flying.
You see feet and everything. They'd look
Yep.
like Ocampo whenever they
Yeah,
got hit.
yeah, they
Every time they
would.
got hit, they'd be rolling around like that.
So it's not so much the ball they're playing with. I think we just put them in the orbs,
Yeah.
and that's they just kind of roll down the court or the
My
pitch.
only my only request is whatever ball it is. I like the volleyball idea, but I want to put that Nerf whistle in it.
Oh yeah,
So
that
every
was
time you
nice.
whack that thing, you just hear that
Yep,
yes,
that was
get like a
good.
bottle rocket on
Yeah, and you could
every
throw that
kick.
ball a mile. By the way.
Oh man, boy, did you did it really humble you when you went back to a regular football trying to
Yeah, it
play with your
did.
buddies, thinking
Yeah,
you were gonna hit that
yeah.
40 yard
Yeah, the
40 yard
vortex, I think they
bomb
called it, right?
vortex?
Yeah,
Yes,
that was nice.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, as always, those are super fun. The problem is Sly Fox is slowly turning to Femini, so now I'm going to go upstairs and think about what my actor Hollywood name.
Sly Fox the goat. I've been saying it for years, Eric. Years on this podcast. Sly
I
Fox,
feel like
good as
feel like
gets.
it's got to have something to do with like heat for like hot coals,
Oh yeah,
like coal something. But
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever. You can't beat Dirk Dingler.
Dirk
So
Diggler, Dirk Diggler,
Diggler.
Eric. It's from Boogie Nights. Mark
Oh, okay.
Wahlberg's best film, I believe, which is about the '70s adult film industry, and his name was Dirk Diggler in that one. So if you haven't seen that movie, Eric, and it doesn't sound like you have, you should go watch it. It's good.
Maybe
Don't
that's
watch it
why.
with the kids. Don't watch it with the
No,
kids, Eric. It'd be one for maybe late at night.
is
But it's
that
a
the one
good
you?
movie.
Is that the one you tricked your dad into letting you
It is,
watch when you were younger
it is
because he thought
actually.
it was a scary movie?
No, I tricked my mom into watching it,
Oh,
letting me watch it,
even
not
worse.
watching it. She did not watch it with me.
Ugh.
That would be really weird. I tricked her into letting me rent it. I told her it was a movie about dancing. And it was, in fact, not a movie about dancing. And then my dad got wind of it, and he was furious. He said, Brenda, why did you let him rent this movie? And in sixth grade, David was very happy for the evening. That's for sure. Hey, Eric, where can
All
people
right.
send these submissions to?
Keep them coming in each week. We love them. On Instagram, we're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is capital SES underscore podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube to keep up with all things South End Supporters.
I want to say thanks as always to the sponsors that make this program happen, especially our title sponsor, Ready to Live Wellness at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard. If you are looking to get swole like Eric Cole this summer, you got to check out Ready to Live Wellness. And our studio sponsor, as well as the official merchandise sponsor of South End Supporters. That's Warrior Logo Wear at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah. The Match Week preview is brought to you every single week by STL Kalachi at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. And the South End submissions come to you every week by Felix's Pizza Pub at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. Elite FT brought you the elite news and notes from the back post in the first episode of the week that came out on Tuesday. You can find them at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois, inside the Sports Academy. And that is the sponsorship group here that make this program possible on South End Supporters. For Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, who is out this week. My name is David Heck. Thanks so much for listening. You have been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week. And until then, let's go City.